The knock had changed something. Not the situation. That was still the same. But the silence that followed it felt different. Lillian closed the door slowly. The landlord's footsteps faded down the corridor, and for a moment, everything in the room held still. She turned. He was exactly where she had left him. He had found the kitchen without being shown. The cup on the counter, her cup, the one she kept on the third shelf, was already in his hand. Seated, calm, as if nothing had happened. As if a man who had been threatening her for months had not just walked away mid-sentence. "Are you going to say anything?" she asked. He looked at her. "What would you like me to say?" That wasn't an answer. "You heard him," she said. "He's coming back tomorrow." "I know." "You know?" she repeated. There was no urgency in his voice, no concern, just acknowledgement. And that, more than anything, unsettled her. "Then why are you acting like it doesn't matter?" He didn't respond immediately. Then, "Because it doesn't." Lillian stared at him, waiting for something to follow. Nothing did. She looked away, because there was something in the way he spoke, something measured, that made it difficult to argue, and even more difficult to trust. That night, she didn't sleep properly. Not because she was afraid. She had made her peace with the decision. What kept her awake was the details, the small things that did not add up. He had known which door was hers. He said he asked the woman downstairs. But the woman downstairs, Mama Chisom, was not the kind of woman who gave information to strangers asking about her neighbors. Lillian had lived beside Mama Chisom for 3 years. She knew. And then there was the bench. He had said he had seen her around, coming in late, leaving early, always in a hurry. Seen her where? She had never seen this man, not once, not in 3 years. And yet he had sat beside her on that bench as if he had been waiting for exactly that moment. As if the bench had been a destination, not a coincidence. She stared at the ceiling. The questions kept coming, and the answers were all the same. Nothing. The next morning, nothing had changed, except her. Because now, the question had settled. Not loudly, but firmly. Who did I just marry? She moved through the days slowly, watching him. Not openly, but carefully. He woke early, made tea without asking if she wanted any, sat by the window, as if he had nowhere to be. No urgency, no pressure. That didn't make sense. Not in a situation like this. Not when everything was supposed to be collapsing, and yet he seemed untouched by it. Then her phone buzzed. A message from the landlord. She opened it. "Be ready tomorrow." Nothing else. No greeting, no explanation, just confirmation. Lillian's grip tightened around the phone. She looked up. He was still by the window, calm, as if the word meant nothing. "Did you hear that?" she asked. "I did." "And? And what?" Lillian exhaled slowly. "This is not something you can ignore." "I'm not ignoring it." "It looks like you are." He stood up, walked toward her, not quickly, not slowly, deliberately. Then stopped, close enough to be heard clearly. "I told you I would handle it," he said. His voice was low, steady, "and I will." There was something final in that tone, not dismissive, not defensive, just certain. And for a moment, Lillian didn't respond, because she realized something. He wasn't trying to convince her, he was stating a fact. And that difference was unsettling. Later that afternoon, she stepped outside. Not because she had somewhere to go, but because she needed space to think. The street was the same, busy, unconcerned, people moving through their own problems. She walked slowly, past the shops, past the same bench, then stopped because she noticed something. Across the street, and conversation, 2 men, one of them, her landlord, the other, unknown. They were speaking quietly, but the posture was familiar, tense, uneven. The landlord wasn't leading the conversation. He was listening. That alone was unusual. Mr. Bello was not a man who listened. He was a man who spoke and expected the world to arrange itself accordingly. Lillian watched. Then the second man handed him something, a document. She couldn't read it from where she stood, but she saw the shift, immediate. The landlord's posture changed, less certain, more careful. The way a man looks when he has just been reminded of something he would have preferred to forget. Lillian frowned, because something about that moment didn't fit. She turned away, but the image stayed with her. When she got back, the apartment felt different. Not because anything had moved, but because she had. He was in the same chair, calm, present, unbothered. She looked at him for a long moment before she spoke. "How long have you lived in this area?" she asked. He looked up. "A while." "That's not an answer. It's enough." Lillian studied him. "Do you know the landlord?" A pause, brief but real. "I know of him." "That's not the same." "No, it's not." Another closed door. She looked away, because now the questions were multiplying, and the answers weren't. That evening, she went through her old documents, not with a plan, just looking. Old rent agreements, receipts, letters, anything that might help her understand what she had been living inside without knowing it. She was on the third page of an old tenancy agreement when she heard his phone buzz in the other room. He stepped out to take the call. She heard the bathroom door close. She heard the water running. She turned back to the document in her hand, and then she saw it. Not on her document, on the folder he had left on the table. A single page, half visible, slipped slightly out. She did not pick it up. She leaned forward, read what was visible from where she sat. A property document, official stamps, columns of figures, an address at the top of the page. She recognized the address immediately. It was this building, her building. She sat very still. The water was still running in the bathroom. She looked at the page, at the address, at the stamps, at the box at the top marked owner, and the name inside it. She had just enough time to read it before she heard the bathroom door open. She sat back. He came into the room, picked up the folder without looking at it, straightened the page, slid it back inside. "Are you hungry?" he asked. "No," she said. Her voice was steady. She was proud of that. He sat down. She sat across from him, and for the first time since this arrangement began, she understood why he had been so certain, why he had never seemed worried about the landlord, why Mr. Bello changed overnight, why he found her door without asking, why he watched that street from the window like a man looking at something that already belonged to him, because it did. This building, this address, his name at the top of the page. She looked at her husband. "How long have you been planning this?" she asked. The question came out quiet. The room held still. He didn't answer immediately. Then, "I didn't plan you." That wasn't what she asked, but it was the most honest thing he had said since the bench. "But you knew," she said. A pause. This one longer. "I pay attention." Lillian held his gaze. "You own this building," she said. Not a question. The air in the room changed. He did not deny it. He did not confirm it. He simply looked at her with those deep, still eyes and said nothing at all, which was, she had learned, his way of saying yes. She stood up, walked to the window, looked down at the street below, the same street she had walked every day for 3 years, the same street she had been sitting on when everything fell apart. She understood now why it looked familiar to him the evening she caught him watching it. She turned around. "Why?" she asked. Just that. One word. He held her gaze for a long time. Then he stood, walked to the window and stood beside her, not too close, not too far, and looked down at the street from there. "I didn't plan you," he said again, quieter this time. "But some things take time to become what they are." She looked at him, and for the first time since the bench, since the registry, since any of it, she saw something in his face that she had not expected to see. Not calculation, not strategy. Something older. Something that had been there long before she had noticed him. She didn't know what to do with that, but she noticed something else. The realization hadn't come with panic. It had come with clarity. Cold, quiet, certain. This wasn't coincidence, this wasn't chance, and whatever this was, it had started long before that bench. She hadn't just stepped into a solution, she had stepped into something already in motion. And for the first time, that thought didn't scare her. It steadied her, because now there was something beneath the confusion she hadn't felt in a long time. Ground. She turned back to him, studied him, not as a stranger, not anymore, but as a question she had not yet finished reading. And this time, she didn't look away, because whatever the answer was, she was ready to see it.
She didn't know his full name. She didn't know his story. She didn't know why that bench, why that day, why her. But she knew one thing now. This man, this quiet, certain, unbothered man, was not who he had appeared to be on that street. And in part 3, neither will anything else. If this story has made you feel something today, subscribe to Life Stories with the Innocent so part 3 finds you the moment it drops. And before you go, drop one word in the comments. Just one word. Describe this man. One word. I'll wait.